Throwaway, because my husband knows my main account, and I'm not even sure what I'm gonna do yet. I, female, 34, just found out my husband Derek, male, 36, is cheating on me with my best friend of 15 years, and I literally feel like I'm going to throw up every time I think about it. I've been sitting here for like an hour trying to figure out how to even start this. My hands are shaking so bad I keep having to fix typos. So I guess some background. Derek and I have been married for 8 years. We met in grad school. He was getting his MBA and I was doing my master's in HR management. We were that perfect couple that everyone said would make it. He was so different back then, always putting me first, talking about our future together, making big romantic gestures. I actually turned down a really amazing job opportunity in Chicago right after graduation because he got offered a position at this marketing firm here that he was really excited about. I figured there would be other opportunities for me, and I wanted to support him. That's what you do in a marriage, right? I've put my career on hold a few times to support his. Like 3 years ago when he got the chance to work on this huge campaign that meant he was traveling all the time for 6 months, I scaled back to part-time at my job so I could manage everything at home. And then last year, I passed on applying for a promotion because he was starting to get really busy working toward his big promotion, and one of us needed to have a more flexible schedule. Anyway, sorry this is all over the place. My brain is just, About 6 months ago, my mom had to have emergency heart surgery. It was really serious, like they weren't sure if she was going to make it. She lives about 4 hours away, and since my dad passed away 5 years ago, there wasn't anyone else to take care of her. So I took family leave from work and went to stay with her for about 3 months while she recovered. This is where Irene, female, 35, comes in. She's been my best friend since freshman year of college. We've been through everything together. She was my maid of honor, I was hers. I'm godmother to her son. She helped me plan my dad's funeral. We still do our annual spa weekend that we started back in our 20s. I introduced her to her husband Malcolm, male, 37, at my company picnic like 11 years ago. They have 2 kids now, a 9-year-old son and a 5-year-old daughter. So when I had to go take care of my mom, Irene offered to check in on Derek occasionally. You know, bring him some home-cooked meals, make sure he was doing okay since he couldn't come with me because of work. I was so grateful because Derek is terrible at taking care of himself when I'm not around. He'll literally eat cereal for dinner for a week straight. I came back about 3 months ago and things just felt off. Derek was working late all the time, like getting home at 9 or 10 p.m. most nights, being weird about his phone, taking it to the bathroom, keeping it face down, and just emotionally distant. But I told myself it was just stress from work. He's been pushing for this huge promotion to vice president of marketing, and his boss Donald, male, 58, is super traditional and big on family values or whatever. The promotion is supposed to be announced at this fancy dinner party on Friday. I honestly trust Derek completely and never thought he would cheat on me. God, I feel so stupid writing that now. But there were these little things, like he changed his phone password, and he started going to the gym more, which good for him, I guess, but the timing was suspicious. And one time I came home early and he was on the phone on our back porch and literally jumped when he saw me and hung up super quick. But I kept making excuses for him in my head. Then last week, everything fell apart. I met Irene for our monthly lunch at this little bistro we always go to. We were having a normal conversation about my mom's recovery and her daughter's dance recital. Nothing seemed weird or off. Then she got a text and excused herself to go to the bathroom, but left her phone on the table. And then another text came through that I could see on her lock screen, from Derek, saying, "Last night was amazing. Can't wait to see you again tomorrow." I swear to God, my heart literally stopped. I felt like I couldn't breathe. I just sat there staring at her phone for like 30 seconds, telling myself there had to be some explanation. Maybe they were planning a surprise for me. How fucking naive is that? I don't even know what came over me, but I picked up her phone. She doesn't have a passcode, which I've told her a million times is not secure, but thank God she didn't listen. And I started scrolling through their messages. There were dozens of explicit messages going back months. Pictures of them together. Pictures of him that were clearly taken at my dad's cabin, which he left to me when he died and is like the most special place in the world to me. Messages about how much they missed each other while I was taking care of my mother who almost died. Messages about how they couldn't wait to be together. I somehow managed to put the phone down exactly how it was before she came back. I don't even know how I kept it together. I told her I wasn't feeling well and needed to go home. And you know what she said? She said, "Oh no, I hope you're not coming down with something. I can check on Derek for you if you're not feeling well." The audacity. I just nodded and left before I completely lost it in the middle of the restaurant. The past week has been a blur. I've been going through everything. Our credit card statements, found hotel charges from when I was with my mom, his email, discovered a secret Gmail account he uses just to talk to her. Our phone records, they talk constantly when I'm not around. I found out they've been meeting at my dad's cabin regularly for 7 months. 7 months. Including while my mom was in surgery fighting for her life. Meanwhile, Derek has been totally focused on this promotion party. He keeps telling me how career-defining it is and how I need to be impressive for his boss. Like I'm just some accessory to his success. The more certain he gets about the promotion, the more dismissive he is of me. Yesterday, he actually said I should wear something that makes me look put together because Donald's wife will be there, and she's very elegant. Like I'm some slob he needs to dress up. I've been to dinner at Malcolm and Irene's twice since finding out, watching her play the perfect wife and mother while knowing she's sleeping with my husband. Last time we were there, Malcolm gave me this heartfelt card thanking me for my friendship and support of his family over the years. I almost started crying right there. I consulted a divorce lawyer yesterday. She advised me to gather all our financial information before confronting Derek. I've been doing that, but I still don't know when to actually confront him. Before the promotion party. After. I'm so conflicted because part of me wants him to have this career-defining moment and then lose everything else. I just feel so angry and betrayed by both of them. I honestly don't know what to do. I've barely slept. I can barely eat. I'm just going through the motions, pretending everything is normal while feeling like my entire life was a lie. Edit. Holy shit, this blew up while I was at work. Thanks for all the support. To answer some common questions. Yes, I have actual proof. Screenshots, pictures, hotel receipts, everything. I'm not confronting anyone without solid evidence. No, we don't have kids, thank God. We were actually planning to start trying next year after his career was more stable, his words. Now I realize he was probably just stalling. For those asking about Malcolm, yes, I'm going to make sure he knows. He doesn't deserve this either. I'm just trying to figure out the right way to tell him. Several people have asked about the cabin. It was my dad's favorite place. We spent every summer there when I was growing up. The fact that they used it for their affair makes me physically ill. Edit 2. A lot of you are asking why I'm even considering waiting until after the promotion party. I guess part of me is still in shock and operating on autopilot. And another part of me thinks there would be something fitting about him achieving this thing he's worked so hard for and used as an excuse for his behavior, only to have everything else fall apart. But you're right that I shouldn't be protecting his career at this point. To the people suggesting I should just quietly divorce him without making a scene, would you say the same thing to a man whose wife was cheating? They chose to have an affair. They chose to betray me and Malcolm. Why should I have to tiptoe around their feelings and reputation? Now for the first update. So a lot has happened since my last post. First, thank you to everyone who commented with support and advice. After finding out about Derek and Irene, I decided I needed more concrete evidence before doing anything. So I've basically been investigating these past couple weeks. I managed to get into Derek's cloud backup while he was sleeping. He uses the same password for everything, which I've told him a million times is stupid, but thank God he never listened. I found everything. All their texts, the pictures they sent each other, which I really wish I could unsee, emails from his secret account planning their meetups, hotel confirmations, everything. And you guys, I found out he's been using our joint savings to pay for all this crap. The savings we've been putting away for years for our future family. For a down payment on a bigger house. For the kids we were going to start trying for next year. He spent almost $4,000 on a bracelet for her last month. And get this, he put a down payment on some small investment property that he told me was a work project, but the emails clearly show it was for them to have a place to meet that wasn't my dad's cabin. I, honest to God, almost threw up when I saw all the money he's spent on her. Like, we've been living on a budget for years, so we could save, and he's out here buying her jewelry and weekend getaways. While I was scaling back my career for him, sorry. I can't even think about this without getting so angry. I can't see straight. Meanwhile, Derek has been acting normal. He's been so focused on this stupid promotion party. Keeps talking about how it's going to change everything for us, and how after he gets VP we can finally start our family. And I just have to sit there and nod and pretend I'm not upset. 2 days ago, he told me that after the promotion comes through, we'll have the financial security to start trying for a baby next year like we planned. I had to run to the bathroom to throw up. He thought it was food poisoning from lunch. I didn't correct him. I decided to get a second opinion from another divorce lawyer, thanks to the commenter who suggested this. She confirmed what the first one said. I need to protect myself financially as soon as possible. So I've been slowly moving my personal money to a separate account and making copies of all our financial documents. The lawyer said the evidence I have of him using our joint savings for the affair might help me in the divorce. Oh, and I ran into Malcolm at the grocery store last week. That was awful. He was buying ice cream and told me it was Irene's favorite, and he was picking it up because she seemed really stressed lately, and he was worried about her. He mentioned he thinks she's spending too much time helping me plan for Derek's promotion party, and that's why she's been so distracted lately. I just stood there frozen. Like, what do you even say to that? This guy has been nothing but kind to me for years. He made a donation to the Heart Association in my mom's name when she was in surgery, and his wife is sleeping with my husband, and he has no idea. I felt so sick. That moment really cemented for me that he deserves to know the truth just as much as I deserve to find out. And for those asking in the comments of my last post, no, I'm not punishing Malcolm by telling him. I'm respecting him enough to give him information about his own life that everyone else is hiding from him. So Derek's big promotion party was scheduled for Friday night, yesterday. I spent the week getting ready, but not in the way he thought I was. I bought a new dress, something I normally wouldn't wear, kind of bold and confident looking. I booked a hotel room for after. I made sure all my evidence was backed up in multiple places. I talked to my mom about everything, and she was conflicted. At first, she thought maybe I should handle this privately, but then after I showed her some of the texts they sent while she was literally in surgery, she was furious. Said she'd support whatever I decided to do. Yesterday was the party. Derek went early to prepare with his team. Sure, whatever. I got ready at home and drove myself there. When I walked in, I immediately saw Irene and Malcolm sitting near the front of the private dining room. She looked away real quick when she saw me. Coward. Derek seemed surprised by how I looked. I think he was expecting me to just wear whatever. He kept introducing me to all these executives I'd never met, telling them how supportive I've been through his journey at the company. I just smiled and nodded like the good corporate wife he wanted me to be. Donald, the CEO, came over and was really nice. He told me Derek talks about me constantly, about how I've been his rock through everything. I literally had to dig my nails into my palm to keep from laughing. Rock. Sure, more like doormat. The whole first part of dinner was excruciating. Derek and Irene were so obviously avoiding looking at each other, it was almost funny. I just sat there watching them, seeing all these little things that I can't believe I missed before. Malcolm kept lovingly looking at Irene while she was texting under the table, probably Derek. Donald gave this whole speech about company values. Literally used the words integrity and family loyalty like 5 times. I almost choked on my wine at one point. Derek kept squeezing my hand under the table. I think he thought I was nervous or excited for him, when really I was just trying not to scream. Then came the announcement. Derek officially got the VP position. Everyone applauded. He gave this speech thanking his team, the executives, blah, 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 and then he got to the part about me. He thanked me for my unwavering support that made his success possible. He talked about my understanding during his long hours and my support during difficult times. I literally thought I might pass out. I was sitting there thinking about how those long hours were actually spent with my best friend, and how those difficult times were when I was taking care of my dying mother, and he was using that opportunity to cheat on me. I felt like I was in some kind of alternate reality. I know this sounds like I'm making this up or exaggerating, but I swear to God these were almost his exact words. I couldn't forget them if I tried. Then Donald said it was tradition at these events for spouses to say a few words if they wanted to, and he handed me the microphone. I looked up and made eye contact with Irene, and I swear to God she knew. She knew what was about to happen because she suddenly looked terrified. Look, I never wanted to hurt anyone. That was never my intention. But sitting there, listening to Derek talk about our partnership while the evidence of his betrayal was literally in my purse, I just couldn't pretend anymore. I stood up and took the microphone. I started by talking about our early marriage, how we supported each other, the genuine sacrifices we both made. Derek looked so relieved and proud. I could see him visibly relax, probably thinking I wasn't going to embarrass him, and then I shifted to what I had discovered. Edit, holy shit, this blew up again. Some of you are asking why I didn't include what happened after I started speaking. I'll post the full update tomorrow. I'm still processing everything and trying to respond to some of the messages from friends and family. It's been intense. Edit 2. To answer some common questions. Yes, Malcolm knows everything now. We've talked and he's as devastated as you'd expect. No, I don't regret doing it publicly. After thinking about it for 2 weeks and seeing Derek continue to lie to my face every day, I couldn't stomach the idea of protecting his reputation. For those saying I should have taken the high road, when exactly was anyone planning to take the high road with me? When they were using my father's cabin, when they were spending our savings, when they were lying to my face for months. Someone asked if I'm okay financially. Yes, I moved half our savings to a separate account before the party on lawyer's advice. Derek tried to empty the joint accounts this morning but was too late. Guess he's not as smart as he thinks he is. Now for the second update. So it's been about 4 days since the promotion party, and my life has basically imploded or exploded. I don't know which is the right word. My hands are still shaking whenever I think about what happened, but I figured I owe you guys the rest of the story, since so many of you have been supportive and asking what happened after I took the microphone. First, thank you to everyone who commented and messaged support. You guys have no idea how much I needed that when I was sitting in my hotel room afterwards, just completely numb and wondering if I had made a huge mistake. And for those saying I should have kept it classy and handled it privately, where exactly was the class when they were fucking in my dad's cabin while my mom was in surgery? Sorry. Still really raw about that part. Anyway, when I left off in my last post, I had just taken the microphone after Derek's big promotion speech, where he thanked me for my unwavering support. Excuse me while I vomit. And Donald had asked if I wanted to say a few words as the spouse. The room went silent as I started talking. My hands were shaking so bad I had to hold the mic with both hands. I started by telling everyone I was proud of Derek's work accomplishments and that I remembered when we truly supported each other. Derek visibly relaxed. He had this smug little smile that I now realize has always been there whenever he thought he was getting away with something. Then I told everyone that while Derek was working toward this promotion, I discovered something about him that everyone should know. His smile froze on his face. I told everyone that my husband had been having an affair with my best friend of 15 years. Everyone gasped and turned to look at Derek. His face went from frozen smile to this weird gray color. I continued by explaining that the affair had been going on for 7 months, including when I was away taking care of my mother during her emergency heart surgery. Derek tried to interrupt, saying this wasn't the place for this, but Donald actually held up his hand and told him to let me finish. I told everyone they'd been meeting at my deceased father's cabin, a place that was special to my family and that my dad left to me when he died. Then I turned to where Irene and Malcolm were sitting. Irene was already crying. Malcolm looked confused at first. Then I watched as he realized what was happening. I told Malcolm I was sorry and that he didn't deserve this betrayal either. I showed everyone that I had hundreds of texts between them. I read some of the explicit messages about missing how they taste and feeling each other again and planning meetups when I was away at my mom's. Derek tried to grab my phone, but one of the other executives stopped him and told him not to make it worse. I told everyone how Derek used our joint savings account to buy Irene gifts and even put a down payment on a property where they could meet. How he spent almost $4,000 on a bracelet for her while I was scaling back my career to support his. Donald's face changed from shocked to disgusted to disappointed. I finished by telling everyone exactly who they were promoting that night. A man who betrayed his wife with her best friend while she was caring for her sick mother. A man who spent our savings on his affair partner. A man who lacks the integrity that the company claims to value. Then I took off my wedding ring, placed it on the table, and walked out. I didn't look back, just walked straight to my car where I had already packed an overnight bag. I drove to the hotel I had booked in advance, took a sleeping pill, turned off my phone, and passed out. When I woke up the next morning and turned my phone back on, I had 39 missed calls. 39. 18 from Derek, starting with angry messages about what I'd done to him, then getting more desperate saying we could fix this, and finally getting angry again saying I'd ruined everything. 9 from Irene begging for forgiveness and claiming it wasn't what it seemed. What? How exactly was feckin' my husband behind my back while I took care of my mom, not what it seemed? 6 from Malcolm thanking me for telling him the truth and asking for copies of the evidence for his divorce lawyer. And then a bunch from mutual friends and family who had already somehow heard different versions of what happened. News travels fast. Oh, and 2 calls from my divorce lawyer, who I had put on alert the day before. Yes, I was that prepared. I got texts from a colleague who was at the party filling me in on what happened after I left. Donald ended the celebration immediately and asked Derek to come to his office first thing Monday morning. Derek tried to minimize the situation, but people were already leaving. Malcolm confronted Irene right there in the restaurant, asking her how long it had been going on. So the professional fallout. Derek had his Monday meeting with Donald, and the promotion was rescinded. Donald cited poor judgment and character concerns as the reasons. They offered Derek a lateral move to a different division instead of the VP position, which basically means his career at that company is done. Derek sent me a scathing email blaming me for destroying everything we worked for and threatening to fight me for every penny in the divorce. Good luck with that when I have evidence you used joint funds for your affair, buddy. The personal fallout. Malcolm moved out that same night and filed for divorce from Irene the next day. He called me yesterday and said after seeing the extent of the affair, he's not even considering reconciliation. He's devastated about the kids, but said he couldn't stay with someone who could lie so convincingly for so long. Irene's perfect family influencer social media is in shambles. She hasn't posted in days, which is weird for her since she normally posts like 5 times a day about her blessed family life. Gag. Our friend group is split. Most people are supportive of me, but there are definitely some who think I should have handled it privately. Again, where was the privacy when they were using my dad's cabin? Here's something weird. Derek's parents called me yesterday to offer support. They said Derek had shown similar patterns in previous relationships, and they had hoped marriage had finally matured him. What the actual FCK? You couldn't have warned me before I married him. I met with my lawyer yesterday to officially start divorce proceedings. She told me Derek tried to move money from our accounts the morning after the party, but I had already protected my assets based on her earlier advice. Thank you to whoever commented on my first post, suggesting I get a second legal opinion. That really helped. I've decided to sell the cabin. I know that probably sounds extreme, but I can't imagine ever enjoying it again knowing what happened there. I'm hoping to use some of that money to start over somewhere. Look, I never wanted to hurt anyone. That wasn't my intention. I just couldn't sit there and listen to him talk about our partnership, while the evidence of his betrayal was literally in my purse. I couldn't pretend anymore. And honestly, Malcolm deserved to know too. And for what it's worth, I think doing it publicly actually prevented Derek from being able to spin some bullshit story to save his reputation. Malcolm reached out to me for coffee tomorrow. We're both processing our grief, but there's a weird comfort in having someone who understands exactly what you're going through. And before anyone asks, no, it's not romantic at all. We're just 2 people who got screwed over by the people we trusted most. I've decided to apply for that promotion at my company that I avoided pursuing to accommodate Derek's career. My boss has actually been super supportive and told me to take whatever time I need, but that the position is mine if I want it. I'm changing my phone number this weekend because Derek won't stop calling from different numbers after I blocked his main one. And next month, my mom and I are taking a trip to the beach to start healing from, well, everything. I don't know what happens next. I'm still having moments where I break down crying in the middle of the grocery store, but I also have moments where I feel this weird sense of freedom, like a weight has been lifted. I spent so long dimming myself for Derek's career, his needs, his wants, and for what? So he could cheat on me with my best friend. Never again.